Millions of years ago, there used to be erupting volcanoes here. The new landscapes were formed by heated magma that burst out from craters. Experts say that red sediment rocks, a mixture of soil and carbonate, were formed in the bed of the river Charyn in the neogene period when dinosaurs had already disappeared. Water and wind do their jobs of forming the landscape features slowly but surely, constantly shaping mountains and hills like a sculptor. Welcome to the National State Charyn Park. We are at the Almaty-Chunja Road, on the territory of the Charyn Canyon. The park extends from here to the east. On the right, there are the Boguty Mountains. On the left side, we can see the famous Charyn Canyon. The most popular tourist attraction in the national park is the Big Canyon, also known as the Valley of Castles. Scientists say that it is a bright example of the geomorphological formation of the landscape. It is also a favorite place for those who love adventures and exotic places. It is too hot to visit in the summer, but in the autumn it is very popular with tourists, as the landscapes are particularly beautiful at this time. Visitors start coming here in August, and the site is popular until it gets quite cold here. The place appeals to those who admire beautiful landscapes and travelers who love extreme sports. There are a lot of legends about this unique canyon. According to one of them, this place is protected by bad spirits and witches. One of the most mysterious passes has the name Vedmina, which means the Witch's Pass. There are a lot of mysterious stories about almost all the passes of the canyon. In the past, local people believed that the large crevices are the home for various spirits and ghosts, and they avoided disturbing them. The wind here makes strange and spooky sounds. The reasons for these peculiar sounds lie in the structure of the sediment rocks that have tiny holes, which makes them a huge musical instrument. Almost every rock here has its own name. At first sight, they all look like ordinary stones, but when viewed through a camera, they resemble characters of fairy tales such as Aladdin and Baron Munchausen. Travelers say that the Charyn Canyon is as beautiful as the Great Canyon in the US. The only difference is the size. The latter is bigger.
It's spectacular, very impressive, and beautiful.
You have been in Grand Canyon?
I've been to the Grand Canyon.
I've been to the Grand Canyon?
Yeah, we've been to the Grand Canyon.
Big difference?
Big difference. The Grand Canyon's a bit wider, a bit bigger, but fundamentally very similar in terms of phenomenon. The Charyn Canyon, it's very similar, equally spectacular in many ways.
The Charyn Canyon features look like a number of towers and minarets. According to geologists, the canyon gained its modern landscape features about 500,000 years ago. In the rocks of the canyon you can find the tauteke, a large wild goat that inhabits the mountains of Asia. Males have horns curved to the back that grow up to 1.5 meters. You can tell how old the male goat is by the number of rolls from the base to the tip of their horns. Female goats have smaller horns, but regardless of the size of the horns, both males and females run fast on sandy and rock surfaces. Mountain goats can rise up to 5,000 meters. When the weather is hot, they leave for snow-capped areas, hiding in the shade of the rocks or just rambling on the mountain ridges, being blown by all winds. They inhabit large mountain ridges and rocks and gravel slopes. In the winter, they go down on southern slopes in search for the remaining grass. They form small herds from 3 to 5 species up to large ones where there may be 30 to 40 goats. Females usually give birth to 1 to 2 kids that are on their hoofs from the first day of their life. The small canyon is situated on the right inflow of the Charyn River that is now dry. This canyon is almost opposite the big canyon. It's an ideal place for geologist trips because there are so many interesting sites, particularly at the small Charyn Canyon, where Mother Nature has shaped peculiar sculptures and towers. The Temerlik River, whose origin is in the Katman Ridge, is the right inflow of the Charyn River. There are a lot of willow trees, Russian olives, barberry trees, halimondromons and tamarixes. The river in some places runs wide and in some places goes very narrow, and where it is narrow, surrounded by rocks, it runs fast for some time until it runs slowly where the river is wide again. We have seen mountain goats at this canyon. The Temerlik River Canyon is not as large and spectacular as the Valley of Castles, therefore there are more wild secluded places here where people never go. This is the Temerlik Gorge. There are some ash trees, poplars, willow trees and maple trees here. The place is surrounded by canyons, so it's the only place where we have plants, a sort of oasis. It's a wonderful place for recreation. There is one more canyon in this place, the Bestamak Canyon, which is between the Valley of Castles and the Temerlik Canyon. The local landscapes capture imagination of travelers with even the most jaded appetites. Filmmaking crews often use this natural beauty as setting for their movies. The Valley of Yurtas is also called the Moon Valley. Its surreal landscape is often used as a filming site for movies and in TV advertisements.
Жалпы еліміздің табиғаты керемет, біздің өлкеміздің. Тағы бір осы Charyn мемлекет ұлттық табиғи паркының керемет аумақтарының бірі осы.
We have a lot of places of natural beauty in our country. One of them is the Charyn Gorge of Yurtas. It is covered with large stones that look like the Kazakhs' national homes, Yurtas. The place is popular with tourists as well as with film and advertisement makers. The peculiarity of the gorge is that different weather conditions immediately change the quality of the soil here. The Charyn ash tree dacha is famous for the rare ash tree that grows in Saritagai on the territory as large as 5.5 hectares. This tree has survived from the Paleogene period. Thus, territory down the river has been marked by the UNESCO as specially protected wildlife area.
Тағы бір Charyn мемлекеттік ұлттық табиғи паркының керемет жері, яғни тек қана Charyn мемлекеттік.
Ash tree woods can only be found in two places around the globe, in Canada and here in Kazakhstan, to be more exact in the Charyn National Park. The total territory of the wood is 5,014 hectares, of which 2,315 hectares is woodland. 1,100 hectares are covered with Bactrian ash trees. It's an extremely rare kind of tree. There are more than 60 subspecies of this tree, and this place is called the Bactrian ash tree wood. The Charyn National State Park is one of the most beautiful places in Kazakhstan. On the territory of the park, there are unique natural monuments that are exceptionally valuable for tourism and recreation. These jewels of wildlife and natural landscapes need protecting, and this requires appropriately trained staff. The park is a home for many wild animals, including foxes, Corsac foxes, hares, mountain goats, least weasels, stoats, leopards, and beech mountains. Among birds, there are eagle owls, golden eagles, bearded vultures, short-toed snake eagles, Egyptian vultures, Seika falcons, Barbary falcons, eastern imperial and booted eagles. Lizards and snakes are represented by Gaton, Acetopharuses, agamas, grey geckos, Asian moccasins, whip snakes, Hallis spitz vipers, and die snakes. Most of the animals have been included in the Red Book of Endangered Species. We go down the river Charyn, where a huntsman showed us a nest of steppe eagle, which is situated on top of a high rock. They make their nests on the ground, on rocks and in trees. These birds live on small vertebrate mammals and bring their fur to the nest.
Мы сейчас находимся в горной части нашего национального парка. Это наши...
We're in the mountain part of the national park. It's the lower part of the Big Bogutum. We can see a nest of the steppe eagle. About 3 days ago, the eaglets left it. The bird is in the Red Book. Our main job is to save birds like the steppe and golden eagles and falcons, as well as wild animals such as goitered gazelles for future generations. Goitered gazelles fall into the class of gazelles and inhabit the steppes and sands and gravel plains of Central Asia and in some mountains where they can climb up to 3,000 meters. Their distinguishing features are their elegantly curved horns and the white spot under the tail. Their food is primarily grass and bushes. They migrate seasonally. When it's warm, they form small herds, but in the wintertime they survive in larger herds. They are in the Red Book of Endangered Species.
Bizde mekендейтін 32 сүтқоректілер саны, мысалға 100-ден астам құстың түрі мекендейді бізде. Соның ішіндегі қызыл кітапқа енген қара құйрығымыз.
There are 32 subspecies of mammals and more than 100 subspecies of birds here. We have been watching those goitered gazelles since yesterday. They are Red Book species. And now we're near a nest of a black stork. The bird is hatching 4 eggs. There are a lot of beautiful wild landscapes here. Our job is to protect these sites and the animals that inhabit them. To monitor the wildlife here, in the wintertime we feed the animals, we cooperate with the state officials to fight poaching, so that future generations could be proud of their country's wildlife. Every national park worker has their own duties and responsibilities. We go on acquainting with the national park's large birds. The Cinere's vulture or vulture is a large settled bird of prey that inhabits mountains of southern Europe, Northern America and Central Asia, where it is relatively widespread. The bird lives on carrion. In search of food, the birds glide over large territories using the streams of warm air. These species live in couples or small colonies. The black stork is a solitary bird and inhabits forests and woods on plain territories, as well as the foot of mountains near lakes, rivers and marshes, as its food area is in shallow waters. Its fledgling needs the parent care for about 10 days. After 35 to 40 days, they can walk, spread their wings and learn to fly. Adult storks feed their young 4 to 5 times a day by puking the food.
Қазіргі кезде осы темірлік аумағында көптен бері бақылап жүрген қара ләйлек, бағанағы орысша айтқанда черный айс деген несінің ұясын бақылап жүргенбіз. Қазіргі кезде
Now we are watching a nest of a black stork. It is caring for its fledgling. We have more nests on the Red Book birds being closely monitored. They are all extremely rare and most of them exist only on the territory of the park. We can only watch them from a distance. We don't want anyone to disturb them. The Charyn State National Park is one of nature's wonders, real treasure which needs to be saved for future generations. And this is what the park's workers, huntsmen and inspectors do in their jobs throughout the year. The purpose of their work is to fight poaching and make sure that the park's wildlife is safe and sound and can raise their young. The staff monitors the park to prevent fires, all for the sake of saving Kazakhstan's national pride, so that visitors can feel the connection with Mother Nature here, only a few hours away from the city.